Hello, everybody. News time. As you might imagine from my smile, there's something going on. Well, there's news that now Obsidian and Bethesda are both owned by Microsoft. That Microsoft and Obsidian are now in talks to make Fallout New Vegas 2. Apparently, it's early days yet, and any decision or any game would be years and years away. Plus, Obsidian have games they need to get finished right now. But Obsidian's reply was, "We just need a go ahead." Microsoft are said to be excited about it too. Now, what was it about the original Fallout New Vegas that made people like it so much over Fallout 3? Well, I think it was the dialogue choices myself. The RPG element was still there. It didn't get overridden by a shoot 'em up game. It stayed part of the game. Skills mattered. Getting that gun skill up was quite essential. The melee skill was essential. You had survival mode, which worked. You could use your own food to produce health. By eating it, increasing your strength and everything. They were really good at this. Was Obsidian. But having seen Neverwinter Nights, Outer Limits, I know when they don't have a good product or a good writer, they tend to be a bit lackluster and they tend to talk your head off. Their RPGs can be spent most of just sitting in front of a character listening to them talk, which gets rather dull and boring. They don't get to the point. And I think, the danger is when you talk someone's head off, they tend to start feeling a bit tired, a little bit bored. But with Fallout New Vegas, they managed to avoid that for the most part. They managed to get on with the plot line and managed to make it interesting. Managed to make the story stay on point the whole time. One of the accusations I've levelled at Obsidian in the past is they'll block off areas that are part of a plot until the plot needs it, then unlock them. And that means there's no open areas because every area in the game is used by the plot. There are no areas just there to explore. And that was still true to a degree with Fallout New Vegas. They didn't have spare areas. Every single area was used by the questlines. And I think if they need to get a leaf out of Bethesda's book, it's in that area. They really need to have areas that are just there to be explored and not simply, only have a cave if a quest is using it. And locking a door because the quest doesn't need it yet. I mean, fair enough, it's necessary in sometimes, but it shouldn't be the main rule. But anyway, Obsidian's strength really comes from the fact that dialogue choices, work all the way through the game. Whereas Obsidian tend to get a little bit tired in the middle. Not Obsidian, Bethesda tend to get a bit tired in the middle. And they start out meaning well, and then eventually in the middle of the game, they just drop the choices completely and it stops being a thing. So I think, where Obsidian, they've maintained it all the way through the game. So what would such a plot line be like? Well, if it was following on from the first one, then one of the sides must have won, or maybe just occupied half the land. Now, if it was the Legion, then we could say maybe the Brotherhood of Steel managed to survive, probably waiting for reinforcements, and then you could have the Brotherhood of Steel having a crack at the Legion when reinforcements arrived. Probably using a scout as the main character. Or if it was the NCR who got their asses kicked, maybe they come back with reinforcements and rangers and they start to take the land bit by bit. And maybe the gameplay is more about retaking it from the Legion by taking on their key outposts than it is anything else. Kind of like Ukraine war style, where the Ukrainians are taking on the Russians right now, a little bit at a time and strategic positioning themselves. Or maybe the Legion wanted another crack and they've managed to get across the dam further upstream and or get across the river further upstream or downstream, and now they're coming in force from a different direction. Or even one of the DLCs, maybe, has spilled over into the real world and is now slowly taking over the desert. I mean, there's quite a few DLCs in the original, and some of them were good, some of them were bad. The danger is, though, with Obsidian, that some of their balancing was a little bit off. Well, way off. I mean, you do certain skills involving, well, certain missions involving certain robots and stuff, and you end up with weapons that are super powered compared to anything that's in the default game. And some of the weapons that used to be fun were patched and nerfed out of existence, like the cowboy repeater. So, I don't use them anymore. But it still remains a good game, even despite all these issues. It still remains an excellent game to play. And I firmly believe it's because their missions are interesting, their dialogue options continue all the way through the game, and your personality choices for your character matter. Because depending on what you choose, you may or may not be able to do something. And that's true at the beginning of the game and at the end of the game. And I think that is where Fallout New Vegas really shined and really made its mark over and above Fallout 3. Fallout 4 had the same issues that Fallout 3 had in that respect. So Obsidian will deliver an RPG in such a way that Bethesda might have to sit up and take note. But Bethesda making Starfield has said that it's going to be more RPG related. But we shall see if they get bored halfway through and it turns up into a shooter like every other game they've made, or whether they've taken a leaf out of Obsidian's book and decided to do it properly. See you the next one.